Hello everybody, this is City Scrapper. Thank you so much for joining me on my channel today. Today I am back with day 23 of Christy's Beautiful Life 30 Days of Sketches, Series 7. So I don't know if you saw my video from yesterday, but I had tried a new technique where I use some watercolor sprays with an aspirator, and I use the aspirator to spread the color around the page. This is something that is commonly used with alcohol inks, and I'm sure many people have done this before, but this was kind of a new technique for me. So I'm just trying it out. I'm putting down some sprays and I'm trying to make a mixed media background. The sketch is by Par Victor, and I love the way there's a big splash of mixed media in the background, and then there are circles and stars on top of it. Usually when I make a mixed media background, I use lots and lots of different color sprays. On this particular layout, I'm going to be using the Paige Evans Horizon collection, and so I picked out 3 different sprays that I thought would match really well with that collection. So 2 of the sprays I use are Lindy's. One's a Starburst spray, and it's called Yellow Rose of Texas. Another one is a flat Fabio spray, and it is Hibiscus Rose. And then I also used a Heidi Swapp Color Shine spray in teal. To get the splatter effect on the background, I'm using the aspirator, and I'm also using some water, and I am also using a paintbrush to help move the color where I want it to go. And this is a new process for me. I find it a lot of fun, and I like the way the color spreads out when you tilt the page. And I do find that I think it came better when I had more liquid on the page. So I did use a lot of liquid. And by liquid, I mean the color spray and some water. So I use both of those. I want to try to make the color go out further than the cluster that I'm going to be putting near the photo. In the end, less of this shows than I would like because I really like the effect that this aspirator makes. It might have a different name, by the way, when it's used for an art application, but I had bought another smaller one, and it was a nasal aspirator that you would use for your baby, and that's the first one I use. And then I found that they have one that's made just for art, so there might be a different name for it, but this is a Ranger. I'm going to call it an aspirator since I don't know what other name it has. But in any case, I wish I either, I guess, added less embellishments or made the color go a little bit further out, but it looks like it goes pretty far out. And it is visible. It's definitely visible in the final layout, but I'm really fond of the effect that this technique makes. So I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of it. You could see that I'm using a lot of different ways to spread that color around. When the color spreads out and then dries, a lot of times it becomes very light. So I do think it's a good idea to go back several times and add some layers of color. And of course, you have to make sure that you keep the color in the same configuration, in the same like sprayed configuration that it is the first time you spray it. So that was the biggest challenge, to get the color to be rich and deep enough and still keep it in the same pattern, if you can call it a pattern. I'm adding some splatters in pink, yellow, and blue. I eventually add all the colors. And as I said earlier, I'm going to be using the Paige Evans Whimsical collection. And I have a number of beautiful Paige Evans collections, or at least pieces of them, in my stash, and I really don't use them as much as I should. They're so beautiful. The colors are just so attractive, so eye-catching. So you can see here that I'm drying it and spreading the color out at the same time. And when using this technique, drying actually adds to the design because sometimes you're spreading the color with the heat tool. I'm going in here with some white acrylic paint. It's watered down acrylic paint, and then some black watered down acrylic paint, and it just adds a little bit of extra interest to the areas of color. I don't want to have huge black splatter, so that's why I use the scissor to tap that against the top of the spray bottle. I mounted my photo first on that beautiful ombre pattern paper, and then I add some white cardstock, but I don't leave a border. I just want the cardstock behind the photo because it makes it a nice substantial background, and I'm going to be putting a lot of things behind it, and that way the photo won't bend with all the things I'm going to be putting behind it. So my first thought was to add this. It was called ribbon when I bought it. It doesn't really seem like ribbon, but I was going to add this, I guess, floral ribbon. And I like the pink, but then I was thinking that the gold would probably look really pretty too. And the gold was a little bit easier to work with. And in the end, you don't see a huge amount of this, but I really do like the idea and the look of this particular floral ribbon. So I play around with it a lot because I end up making it larger than I had initially made it. I wanted the circle to be a little larger. You could see that it took me quite a few tries there to finally get it as big as I wanted it. So there, that seems like the right size to me. And you could see that already it's covering up a lot of the mixed media. But don't worry, you still see it at the end. So for this, I have to use a hot glue gun. It's a little bit hard to manipulate something with this much dimension, for me anyway. So I find that the hot glue gun is ideal for these kinds of mixed media pages. So you can see there that I'm popping up my photo on some foam, but I'm leaving a little space for the wreath to go through. And you could also see that I'm putting 2 layers of the foam, and that way the photo will sit flat when it's resting on the wreath. Now I'm pulling out a number of the items from the collection that I have. I got all these at Tuesday morning, which is for the most part no more in my neck of the woods. There's one small one, but they have really had nothing lately. So I'm just thankful that I stocked up on some things I might never have purchased while they were available. So I'm using some of the chipboard flowers, and there were these really pretty, I guess they're like enamel butterflies, and so I picked out 3 of those. I really liked those. And I didn't hoard them, so I was proud of myself that I didn't hoard them for a future layout. So here's some ephemera. It's a whole package of flowers, which is amazing. And I'm trying to include flowers in a lot of the different colors. And there are a lot of leaves in this ephemera pack as well, so I'm trying to incorporate those too. I picked out a piece of chipboard that says The Happy Life, and there's a little cluster of flowers underneath it, and you can see I placed that on the left of the photo, and that will be my title. One of the things that I really like about this ephemera collection is that there are not only tons of flowers, you can see there on the left, there's a lot of flowers. There are also a lot of leaves. There are green leaves and there are blue leaves and also some gold leaves. So I do incorporate a little bit of each of those into this, I guess I could call it a wreath, since it's circular and is made of leaves and has a lot of flowers on it. I'm adding some of these chipboard hearts, just a little sprinkling of them, a few on the bottom and on the top. And I do spend a lot of time trialing different leaves, trialing different flowers. I don't want to overdo it, but it's very easy to get carried away because everything matches and everything is really pretty. So I add a lot of stuff, and then in the end I do take a few things away. I use the hot glue gun to attach the butterflies. I was going to start attaching everything with it, but then I decided I was just going to use it on the butterflies. And then I was going to go in with some other adhesives to attach the flowers, the die cut flowers and leaves. I'm using some gel glue to glue some of these die cuts down now, and I normally don't video or at least include the footage of me gluing things down. But I found that on this layout, I changed a lot of things as I was gluing them down, so I decided that I would just include this footage. Since by the time I work my way around, a couple of the things have changed. I wasn't sure what color flower to use right here. I trialed a couple of different colors, and then I ended up using this green and blue flower. The photo that I'm using today is a photo of both of my daughters. Most of my photos are of at least one of them. And here they are both, I feel like, looking like grown-ups, and I feel like this might be the first set of photos where they really both look like adults, and it's hard. It's hard for mom to accept that their kids are getting older. I'm very proud of both of them, and they're far older now, and you know, I'm happy to see them growing up and finding their way in the world and making decisions about their future, but it's not easy to see your kids growing up. I will miss them terribly once they move out of the house. I'm not looking forward to that. And I really hope that they end up settling somewhere nearby. As you could see, I am still working my way around the layout, and I'm gluing some things down and some things I'm adjusting or switching out and changing and just trying to make the wreath look as pretty as I can. Now that I have everything arranged, I'm going in with these flowers. These I got from a Spellbinders sale. They were having like a $1 and $2 sale, and these flowers were $1. I just bought a couple of them, and I was really happy when I got them because they are very detailed, and they're not like some of the other flowers that I've gotten like this, these little plastic flower stickers. And I liked the way they were an off-white color. I thought it broke up the color a little bit, and I felt that that made sense because there is just such an explosion of color in this wreath right now. I'm also trying out some bows. I have these little bows that are made from yarn. I can't think the manufacturer on them, and I ended up not using those. I'm using these little gold bows. I got these at Daiso. My husband and I were out one day. I didn't even know we had Daisos in my area, so I went looking in there, and they had a lot of really cute little bows. So I bought a little assortment of bows, and I thought these were just the right size and color to use on the background. Now I'm going in with some of the enamel dots from the collection. I just use the circular ones. There's a whole bunch of different shapes on this sheet, but I stick to the round ones. And I'm trying to include a variety of colors and sizes and kind of spread them evenly around the background or around the wreath. Once I add the enamel dots down, I decided that I wanted to put some pearls on the layout as well. So I picked out just a few pearls, not too many, and I used small, medium, and large sizes, and I try to spread those somewhat evenly around the wreath. I know I've mentioned before in some of my other videos that I really like to have a variety of sizes of all embellishments, and particularly of pearls. So I do try to put different size pearls on my layouts when I do include them on the layout. Now I am happy with where they are all placed, and I'm going in with some gel glue and gluing them down. Then something was bothering me over to the right of the wreath. I felt like there was one leaf kind of sticking out, so I made another leaf sticking out on that side as well. I also wanted to add something to the top and the bottom of the layout, and there's this beautiful piece of rainbow paper that's in the paper pad. So I cut out a small strip of both. I'm sorry you can't see the one on the bottom right now, but there is another strip on the bottom. And I rearrange some of those bows. I didn't like the way they were spaced. And I glue them down. Luckily they weren't dry yet. And I am going to, as usual, add some photo corners to the layout. I add one in the top left corner, and then I realize I can't put the other one in the right-hand corner, or I could, but it's being covered by a flower. So I decided to just go with that one photo corner, and that completes the layout. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope if you like this video, you'll give it a thumbs up. And I hope that you will check out all the other scrapbookers who are following along with this challenge. Their links are in the description box. I hope everybody has a fantastic day, and I hope to see you again tomorrow for day 24 of Christy's Beautiful Life, 30 Days of Sketches. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.